Let me congratulate you, our graduates, and your family and friends in the room. This is a day we want to celebrate with you. This is a moment for us all to reflect and recognize all that you have accomplished. It is now my pleasure to welcome our keynote speaker, George Alexander. George is Deputy Manager Director of Muthoot Finance, the largest gold finance company in India, and let me point out, a fifth-generation family business. He takes care of operations in the states of Karnataka, Goa, and Telangana. He is also responsible for global operations of the Muthoot Group in the United States. He serves on the other group companies' boards as well, namely Muthoot Insurance Brokers, Belstar Finance and Investments, Asia Asset Finance, and Muthoot Securities. Muthoot Finance and Muthoot Securities are the flagship of the Muthoot Group. It was listed in 2011 and is traded on both the Bombay Stock Exchange and the National Stock Exchange. Apart from Muthoot Finance, the Muthoot Group has 16 other divisions, including hospitality, healthcare, education, and insurance brokering. Prior to joining his family business, George worked for ING and Kotak Mahindra Bank of India. He was the chapter chair of the Confederation of Indian Industries, Young Indians Bangalore chapter in 2015. He also served on the board of the Entrepreneurs Organization Bangalore as the finance chair from 2016 to 2018. And he was one of among 10 Indians to represent India at the Australian Indian Youth Dialogue at Sydney and Melbourne in 2013. George has earned his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Kerala, TKM College of Engineering, and his MBA, not surprisingly, from UNC Kenan-Flagler. Please join me in welcoming George Alexander.
Thank you. Thank you, Dean Mary Margaret. Thank you, faculty and staff, for having me as a keynote speaker for the Spring MBA 24 graduation. I'm truly honored and excited to be back almost after 12 years. I want to start by sharing a quote with you all that was said from my grandfather, Mr. M. George Muthoot, and the quote that we still strongly uphold in the ethos of all our businesses today. Let us judge ourselves not by the profit we make, but by the trust and confidence the customers have instilled in us. Let me take you back a while to 1930, a small town in southern India called Koranjeri. It was the kind of town where you might say, everybody knows your name. There was a young man returning home after serving 10 years in the Indian Army, and he was ready to take over his family business. His father was running a small and modestly profitable provisional grocery store, which just about met the needs of his growing family of 10, which included his parents and brothers. On returning home, he quickly realized that he needed to do something more to meet the needs of his family. This prompted him to entrepreneurship. This led him to leverage on his family name and also the good standing in the community, which in the way was the first form of currency in our company. He coupled that with his own personal ambitions, which promoted him to start a small group lending business platform called Chit Fund. A Chit Fund, as you know it, is a rotational credit and savings program, very popular in India and Southeast Asia, which is based on trust. Because of his trustworthy nature, he was able to successfully scale up the business in the state across its length and breadth, and continue to be a pioneer in this business. During the same period, there was a vast number of people leaving for job prospects to the Middle East. My grandfather saw this as a great opportunity to start a new business venture called gold lending, which offered immediate money as loan to customers in exchange of their personal gold. This unique aspect of the business is the amount of trust that should be there between the customer and the financer. As many a times, the gold that is pledged is family heirloom and holds a lot of sentimental and emotional value. The honest and ethical reputation of my grandfather helped build a long-standing and a trustworthy name for Muthoot Group in the gold lending, which we still hold strong today. Everything was going smooth, but then suddenly the government clamped down on all chit fund companies because the customers were getting conned and shortchanged, which in turn made it nearly impossible for us to run our chit fund business. This led to Muthoot Group focusing on its gold lending, which later turned out to be one of its most profitable venture and its USP. So what I would like to highlight as a takeaway from this is that even though we had a successful, highly successful chit fund business, we made it a point not to take anything for granted. In anticipation of any future issues, we always had an alternative fallback option. So always be on the lookout for new opportunities, as you'll never know when it will be needed. After this point, the baton was ceremoniously passed on from my grandfather to his 4 sons. This, like every true entrepreneurial family, felt the need to expand the franchise, and also came the big dilemma of how to grow the business and how to become a national player. This involved taking a lot of operational risk, stepping out of our comfort zones, pushing the boundaries of tough geographies. Keep in mind, we have 26 languages in India to overcome. How much of fun is that? Fast forward to 2011. 5 days before my UNC graduation, we IPO'd our business at 5 times book, which I believe is one of the highest price to book multiple for a finance company. To put it in perspective, when Goldman Sachs did their IPO in 1999, they also did it at 5 times book. This was a huge achievement for the family. The fundraise not only helped us reduce our cost of borrowings, but gave us a very notable national and international presence. By this time, we also managed to achieve our initial goal of becoming the largest national private gold lending player in India. And all the members of the 4th generation had also joined the family business. Now, at this point, the going was good. We were kept busy by opening branches across different cities in India. But in 2020, the gold business started tapering. We had opened around 4,400 branches across the length and breadth of the country. We had to face stiff competition from other finance companies, which were giving much better returns to our shareholders and growing much faster. This made us very challenging for us to retain our customers as well as our staff. Our back was pushed up. We had our back against the wall, and we had 2 hard options before us. Either grow the new businesses or buy an existing business and grow it. After carefully assessing and evaluating the risk involved, we found out what our adjoining lending business, which had enough potential to grow, and focused on expanding those. This led us into diversifying into affordable housing, microfinance, small business loan, consumption loan, etc. This diversification from gold lending helped us overcome the challenge of commodity price risk, which was inherent to gold, at the same time meets the huge credit demand of a growing economy like India. This brings me to my second takeaway and my personal favorite, which is persevere through challenges. Don't give up in the face of adversity. With hard work and determination, anything is possible. As the youngest generation, the onus was upon my cousins and I to learn how to navigate through these unfamiliar waters and give good returns to our shareholders. All these newer forms of lending had much higher credit risk, and if not managed carefully, I have seen finance company personally lose their way. Building a new business inside a legacy business is always a challenge. It requires changes in the existing processes and to accommodate the requirement of the new business. It's like changing the direction of a big ship which is already set on its course. And it won't happen immediately, but requires a lot of effort from everyone involved. Keep in mind, Muthoot is a 5-generation-old family business. And at any point, there is 2 or 3 generations working together, and there are bound to be aspirational differences and generational gaps that need to be navigated through. One of the best solutions that has worked for us is the constant and open communication and consensus building. To ensure this, we insist that we meet at least once a month and we hold a family board meeting to make sure everyone is updated and are in unison. Along with that, we also have a family constitution which helps the family members remember what are the values and objectives that we stand for. But what I cherish about working with the family is the amount of stability, sense of commitment, accountability that each one of us bring to the table. This gives us a certain amount of flexibility when we work. I also appreciate that I have everyone available to me as a sincere sounding board to help me make better decisions and also figure out any blind spots that I may be overlooking. This has not only helped me tide over many challenges over the years, which brings me to my third and final takeaway, which is when working in a business, it is important to have consensus to build healthy camaraderie as well as maintain an open and clear communication at all times. As I have taken you through the slow and steady journey of Muthoot Group, it all began with a single step my grandfather took as he dared to dream. As a family, we have truly tried to honor his legacy and principles throughout the entire way. He always believed in supporting the community that served him and that has served us. Right from my grandfather's time, the Muthoot Group has played an important role in giving back to the society by setting up schools, colleges, and hospitals. The institutions that we set up today not only serve the communities of Kerala and Delhi, but also focus on offering very high standards of services at very affordable prices to the masses. All our community outreach have not only fostered a culture of giving back to the society, but truly helped Muthoot grow holistically. So class of 2024, when you start your entrepreneurial journey, what I would like you to keep in mind, firstly, don't take the going for granted as it can always be challenged, and be ready to pivot when required. Secondly, don't stay complacent, always stay hungry and persevere through your challenges. Lastly, open and honest communication is essential for your company to grow and succeed. We may struggle, we may fail multiple times, but we shouldn't lose sight of our goal and objectives as we'll eventually get there. Thank you. I wish you all the very best in your journey ahead. Go Heels.